Right now, my Knicks, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. Jalen Brunson was just named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. And after trading for OG, I mean, this is the best the franchise has looked since like the start of the Melo and Amare days.
Yeah, it's mildly frustrating for me because I have to listen to you hype up the Knicks all the time, and they just beat the piss out the Blazers. So life's great for me, but you know what? I gotta give them credit. They are balling out right now, and the man that we can credit the most with the Knicks turnaround over the past couple years, that's Jalen Brunson.
Before we start talking about how Jalen Brunson saved the Knicks, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. So this new era of the Knicks really began with that breakout year in 2021. They made the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, and there were two big reasons for this. First, they hired Tom Thibodeau, and he completely turned around their defense. They were like third in defensive rating out of nowhere. I know they had like Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson, but that was a big surprise. And then Julius Randle had that breakout season. He averaged 24 points a game, 10 rebounds, shot 41% from three, and was named most improved player.
You know, in hindsight, where the hell did this come from?
I have no idea.
And how the hell did it happen is the better question.
Unfortunately, though, they'd play the Hawks in the first round. Great playoff series because you had the Knicks fans doing the Trae Young. Trae Young, but Trae Young got him back for that because he was amazing in this series, and the Knicks would lose in 5, somewhat kind of predictably. This was like a breakout year, but they felt like frauds the entire time. Even me, as a Knicks guy, they felt like frauds this entire season, to be real.
They felt like frauds because they were frauds.
They were frauds.
And I'm no fan of Trae Young, but I was his biggest cheerleader during this series.
I mean,
hysterical.
I mean, Julius Randle, that 40% from three was the biggest fluke shooting season maybe ever, and he was not good in the playoffs this year.
And then in 21-22, pretty predictably, they regressed. I mean, I don't think anyone thought they would miss the playoffs entirely, but Julius Randle very obviously fell back down to earth.
Yeah, he completely fell back down to earth. He was kind of the Julius Randle we'd been accustomed to, like a 20-point per game score, not the best efficiency.
But not a guy who can lead you to the playoffs.
Yeah, not an all-star, at least that season. And one of the biggest problems was the point guard position. First in 21, they had Elfrid Payton was their main starting point guard. I have no idea how that worked out, but I guess it did. And then they signed Kemba Walker that offseason to be their point guard. And basically after like 37 games, they shut him down. They were like, I'm sorry, like you're an all-star player in the past, but you're just washed now.
No, he was washed by that
He
point.
was so washed.
Like the last 3 teams that tried the Kemba Walker experiment, it's like, well, maybe he can rediscover his... No, he can't.
They also had Alec Burks, and that didn't really work out. So point guard was a much-needed hole to fill. And they filled that hole with Jalen Brunson, a 4-year, $104 million contract. And when this got signed, basically everyone was saying like, oh, this is an overpay. Really? The Knicks are getting this as their guy? Like he's gonna lead the team? CBS Sports gave it a D+ grade. Stephen A went on a rant about how they traded their first round pick for this. I was for it, but at the same time, I don't know, the contract did look big at the time.
I mean, I get the frustration because think about it. 2 years ago, the idea was, oh, we're gonna get KD and Kyrie.
Right.
And they got Julius Randle. And before that, it was, oh, we're going to get the #1 pick. We're going to get Zion. And they got RJ Barrett.
You're right.
So, you know, I get the Knicks have, I'm not going to say lofty aspirations. I'm going to say delusional aspirations of, oh, we're going to land these huge name free agents. We're going to get a superstar and we're going to be back. So to get just Jalen Brunson, it's like, I get the frustration. At the same time, though, I mean, 4 years, $104 million, is that really that bad a contract considering how good he was in the playoffs in the regular season?
No, I mean, you look at it today's standards, it's a steal. Like he's making $26 million this year. The contract was front loaded, so it's going to be $24 million next year. And then he has a player option for like $24 million the following year. There's no chance he's taking that. He's going to get a bigger deal. So what looked like an overpay at the time is now looking like a complete steal.
Yeah, and I mean, he balled out in the playoffs for the Mavericks, and I know I am the guy who's always like, you never overpay someone for what they did in the playoffs. But I mean, in the playoffs during the 3 games that Luka missed against the Jazz, 32 points a game, 5 boards, 5 assists, 51% shooting, 41% from 3. 3. And like in the regular season, he was really good too. Like it's not like he was a bum in the regular season and then started balling out in the playoffs.
Yeah, it made sense because he was this solid up-and-coming player, and he had to share the court with Luka. So if you look at like his numbers during the regular season the past years, maybe they're not eye-popping, but we saw what he did by himself. He put up the huge numbers, so I get the contract.
His first couple of months with the Knicks, though, like, he was solid. The Knicks as a team, though, were just wildly inconsistent. In December, they had an 8-game winning streak, followed that up with a 5-game losing streak. They were just kind of hovering around 500. Once the New Year started, the Knicks, and Brunson specifically, just got red hot. Won 7 of their first 8 games in January. Brunson dropped a career-high 38 on the Spurs on January 4th. Only took him 2 games for him to break that. Dropped 44 on the Bucks in a close loss at home.
The only problem is they were just so damn inconsistent this year. They followed that up going 3-7 over their next 10. Julius Randle actually was the all-star of this team, if everyone remembers.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, he had the numbers, he had some good stretches, but clearly Brunson was the better player. He was like the MVP for this team.
Once again, the Knicks just consistently inconsistent.
Exactly.
Come out of the All-Star break on a 9-game winning streak. Last game of the winning streak, Brunson actually didn't even play. They trailed the Celtics by 14 at one point in the third quarter, came all the way back, won that in double overtime, and then they lost 3 in a row, won 3 in a row, lost 3 in a row, then won 5 in a row. They were a roller coaster if I've ever seen it. Just up, down, up, down, up, down.
And ultimately, they'd lock in with the 5th seed and play the Cavs. And going to that series, even myself didn't really have faith they'd win. This was the Cavs. We just made the video about them. They were hot last year. Like, they were this young up-and-coming team. They had Donovan Mitchell. I didn't think they'd win the series. I doubt you thought they'd win the series. Not many people were picking the Knicks.
I thought they'd get swept.
Damn.
Is that too harsh?
I mean, a bit, but I get where you were coming from.
They marched right into Cleveland in game 1 and got the win.
Yeah, Brunson hit some huge shots down the stretch of that game, and really, he provided what the Knicks were missing, and that was a closer.
Oh, yeah.
Julius Randle ain't that guy.
Nope.
And Brunson down the stretch of games, like even more so this year, he just always looks in control. Like, kind of got that Dame thing where you look at his face, he never looks phased during games.
He's calm as all the time. I remember after that game 1 when the Knicks went into Cleveland and won, I was just like, oh, for sake. Like,
no, I gotta hear about it.
Please don't do this to me.
They'd split the next 2 games, then game 4 back in New York. The place was rocking, and Brunson was just great. 29 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Again, he made some big plays down the stretch, and the Knicks would secure the victory to go up 3-1 in the series.
And then in game 5, the goddamn Cavaliers couldn't even push the series back to New York.
Yeah, I thought the Cavs would win that. They'd go back to New York, but I remember I was watching that game like, hell yeah. First round series win? Like, if you're the Knicks going into the season, that is a massive success.
You were like, hell yeah. I was like, hell no.
Exactly.
I was pissed.
Then we had the Heat in the second round, and I think most people were picking the Heat, but you know, the Knicks had home court in the series. Unfortunately for the Knicks, playoff Jimmy was just too much, but Brunson did all he could. Specifically, the final 2 games of the series, game 5 facing elimination, puts up 38, 9, and 7, and then game 6, he was just insane.
Yeah, dropped 41 points, kind of had an untimely turnover late in the game, but I mean, you score 41 of your team's 92 points. I can't find much fault with that. And just got to give a quick shout out to the Miami Heat for saving my sanity. I don't know if I would have been able to tolerate bed if the friggin' Knicks make the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Heat also beat the Celtics. I don't know if the Knicks would have done that, so I'm happy about it as well. At least there's some silver lining there.
And this year, Brunson's just got better and better. 26 points per game, 6.4 assists per game. Had that 50 bomb he dropped on the Suns in December when I think he went, what, 9 of 9 from 3?
Yeah, he was just hitting everything against them. He also had a game against the Bucks during the in-season tournament where he dropped 45. They weren't able to get the win, kind of like the game against the Bucks last year, but still a great game. Only thing though, the Knicks were just kind of whatever for most of the season. At the end of December, they were 17 and 15. They were on a 3-game losing streak. Then out of nowhere, I don't think basically anyone saw this coming. They trade for OG. They sent out RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and a second-round pick, and they got back OG, Malachi Flynn, and Precious Achiuwa. And I was confused because my entire timeline, all the replies to the trade were saying the Knicks got fleeced, and I know I'm biased, but I did not get that.
NBA Twitter is high on Emmanuel Quickly, evidently.
Yes.
I mean, I think part of it is just people want to be like, lol, Knicks got fleeced. I think that's part of it, just to rag on the Knicks. I mean, I am RJ RJ Barrett's #1 hater.
You are.
Like, I am not an RJ Barrett fan whatsoever. Emmanuel Quickley, I mean, he's a good young player, but the fact that they were able to get OG back and they didn't give up a single first-round pick. Plus, Emmanuel Quickley's going to be out of contract like next year, right?
Yeah, he's a free agent this offseason, and
he's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid, and I love Emmanuel Quickley. I actually saw a stat. He has the highest plus-minus in Knicks history, but you say it all the time, like, it's not hard to replace a scoring guard. Like, that is the easiest thing to find in the NBA.
5 of them come into the draft every year.
And OG, he's really helped their defense. He deserves a ton of credit for this recent win streak or hot streak. We'll see what happens. We're recording this before the Mavericks game on Thursday. But Brunson specifically, like I said in the intro, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He's averaging 27.3, 9.3 assists, and 3.3 rebounds in that stretch. And no doubt, nothing's going to happen. He's an all-star this year. He's not getting snubbed this year. So what do you guys think? What is the ceiling for this Knicks team? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving a like. And hey, while you're here, check out some of our other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.